Yo, what's going on, guys? Today really just hasn't been very interesting, to say the least. I've been stuck on the phone and answering emails all day, just really dealing with adult responsibilities that I don't show you most of the time, but that's a part of growing up. If you're working, you do fun stuff some days, other days aren't so fun. Without boring you guys with the details, it got me thinking, and that's why I turned the camera on, because I wanted to share a real life experience with you guys, so hopefully that you don't make the same mistakes that I did in the past. It's nothing crazy, but I just really think that if you guys sitting at home, depending on if you're a little younger than me, if you're older than me, this might not be as applicable, but if you're younger than me, I just really hope that you listen to me, because I think it's different when I'm talking to you guys than maybe your parents, because I know when I was younger and my parents were telling me these things, it was in one ear and out the other. So hopefully it hits home, because on the back end of YouTube, 97% of my audience is male. And so I figured a lot of us have been in the same position at one point in time and another in our lives that have been very, very similar. So where does this story begin? We go all the way back to 2011, and you guys know this pretty well. Most of you guys do. In 2011, my team won Call of Duty XP. It was this big Call of Duty tournament. First place was $400,000. So after taxes, I walked away with about $73,000 and some change. And the first thing I wanted to do is buy a car, because a car does a lot of things for you in the United States. If you live in the suburbs, you really need a car to get anywhere. So of course, that's the first thing I wanted to do with this big lump sum of money, and that's exactly what I did. I walked into a car dealership. I decided on a 2012 Scion TC, and I was super excited about it. And then that's when I was sort of hit with a wall. It was like a stop sign, and it was very disappointing because I just didn't know about this entire world that existed, because I just was never in a situation where it was applicable to me. I never had to put any thought towards it. And what I'm referring to is a credit score. Basically, what a credit score is, it's a summary of your financial history with banks and with credit card companies. The higher your credit score, the better. So then the opposite is, if you have bad credit, that's definitely not a good thing. And so when you're 17 or 18, you really don't have a credit score at all, because you've never had any history. You've never had a credit card, you never had an auto loan, you never had a mortgage, and that's where my problem lied. So I wanted to finance this car, but since I had no credit, that's pretty much the same as having bad credit, and the bank wanted to hit me with this high interest rate. And what the interest rate is it's a number that's given to your loan, and every single month that you have this loan and you're borrowing money from the bank, this high interest rate will be tacked on to the fee that I owe on the car. So imagine being in my shoes. I have no credit, they give me this high interest rate, and so for 72 months I'm paying off this car, but every single month my payment is extremely high because of the high interest rate that I had. But take my dad, who was in his 40s at the time, who has really good and established credit. Since he's not seen as big a risk to the bank, since he has a good credit score, he has great financial history, if he were to finance the same car for 72 months, at the end of it, I will be paying an absurd amount more than he would have at the end of his 72 months. So that's where my problem was. I didn't have any credit, I was gonna have this high interest rate and pay way more money than I should have. Luckily, my dad was kind enough to sign off on the auto loan, so I didn't have to deal with that absurdly high interest rate that a lot of people would have if they didn't have their dad or their mom or their aunt or uncle, grandma, grandparent co-signing this auto loan. Basically, the way that the bank sees it is, this guy has great credit, I don't have much credit, but since he's taking responsibility for whatever reason, if I default on payments, they can go after him and they don't have to worry about dealing with me. And that's why I'm making this video, because it caused this gigantic snowball effect, and let me explain. So since my dad was on this auto loan with me, I didn't want to jeopardize his credit score, because if I don't pay up the money every single month, then his credit score is going to go down, and I did not want to do that. So I decided with this lump sum of money that I would take $10,000 on this $23,000 car and just pay it to the bank right away. So that way I would be months and months and months and months ahead on this auto loan, and I wouldn't have to worry about it. I wouldn't have to put any thought towards it throughout the weeks, throughout the months, and I could just basically coast and not have the responsibility of paying anything. Boy, was I wrong. But apparently when I took this $10,000 and put it towards my auto loan, they just put it towards the entire amount. They didn't put it towards my monthly payments. So yeah, I was $10,000 ahead on this car, but I still had the same monthly payments that I was supposed to be paying every single month. And so the problem that caused was that at the time I was getting bigger on Twitch, I was getting bigger on YouTube, I was getting prank phone calls. So I would never answer my phone unless I really recognized the number. Well, it turns out, since I didn't know that I still had monthly payments to make, even though I was ahead on the auto loan by like a year and a half, they were expecting monthly payments, and when they didn't get them, I was 3 months past due. And finally one day I checked my mail and I saw this, and that was a gigantic problem. Not only did I owe them a lot of money, but I was risking my dad's credit and my credit that I was just starting to build. They were literally about to repo my car. You know the reality TV shows that you see all the time? They were gonna come and take my car from me, off my property. They don't call you, they don't tell you that they're going to do it, they literally just come and take the car. As soon as that happened, I got everything squared away, but it didn't change the fact that I had just screwed myself for years upon years upon years. That was in 2011, and I'm still dealing with that same problem 6 years later. And let me tell you why, and this is exactly why I made the video. When you hurt your credit, it causes a lot of problems. And since that was my first time ever opening a line of credit, all these financial institutions and all these banks that look at me, Matthew Haig, as an individual, they see me as somebody who's very high risk in terms of lending me money. Let me give you an example. Say you're 21, you want to get an apartment. Well, guess what? The landlord or the renting company is going to go and look at your credit. If you don't have a good credit score, there's a good chance that they're not going to rent you the apartment. And that's happened to me on numerous occasions. When I first moved to LA, I had to live in an apartment with an independent landlord, and I had to pay him 1 year in advance. I had to pay him an entire year of rent because I had such a bad credit score. This apartment that I'm living in now was the same situation. I had to take this huge lump sum of money that normally I would pay every single month, but I had to pay it all at one time because I have a bad credit score. The BMW M2 that I wanted to lease, there's a good chance that the payments were so high because I have poor credit, and the loan that the bank wanted to give me had such a high interest rate. You guys get what I'm saying? Basically, life gets a lot harder when you have no credit or bad credit because these interest rates are so high and you have to waste so much money trying to pay off these loans. So the reason why I'm making this video is explain to you guys that one mistake has caused me 6 years of problems. And so if you're 17 or 18, maybe younger than that, you don't have to think about it yet, but I hope that you guys remember this video because you need to start building good credit when you're young so that when you're 25 years old and you want to buy a house, you don't have to stress and worry that these banks aren't going to give you a mortgage, or you have to deal with an incredibly high interest rate mortgage and pay a buttload of more money than you normally would if you had good credit. So where is this all going? I just want to lay out a few small things that you can do to start building credit. Number one, you can ask your parents to get a credit card, and basically what they can do is put you on the credit card account and make you an authorized user. And what that means is while they spend money on that credit card and pay their credit card monthly, since you're an authorized user, it counts as a credit line for your name. As they continue to pay that and continue to pay that, that's gonna make your credit score go way up because these financial institutions see that you're a part of a credit card that's being paid off every single month. They're gonna give you a thumbs up and your credit score is gonna go up. What you can also do is go to like a department store. So I went to Target, I went to Kohl's, I went to Sears, I went to these department stores, and they have really big incentives for selling department store cards to customers. And so they can start you off with a credit line of like $250 every single month, which is not a lot of money in the world of credit. Say you go to the store and buy something every single month and make sure you pay your bill on time every single month, and you do that for a while, that's gonna help you build credit. Now, I told you guys earlier that this would probably go in one ear and out the other if your parents were telling you this. Just take it from me that I've been dealing with this for 6 years, and I don't want you guys to go through the same problems. This is like a real talk. If you and I were best friends, I would be saying this to you and I would repeat it to you every single day so you get the point that I'm trying to make. I know it might not seem relevant to a lot of you, but for some of you, when you're at that age and you're trying to get a student loan or you're trying to get a mortgage, an auto loan, an apartment, whatever it may be, you gotta have good credit. And I've said that a few times in this video, but that's the entire point. I'm not a credit expert because I'm still trying to fix my credit. Seriously, I'm still trying to fix it every day, and I'm stumped. I'm on Google, how do I fix my credit? Don't ever get to the point where you have to fix your credit. Just start it off the right way. So go and do your own research. Honestly, it only takes a Google search. How do I start building credit at a young age? And there will be tons and tons of resources that will explain to you how to do these things. I want you guys to understand how compelled I was to make this video, and that should tell you how important that I really think this is. It's gonna save you so much money in the future, and I wish I listened to my parents, and I wish there was a high school class that taught me all about credit and all about taxes. These are real life challenges that you have to deal with, but nobody explains them to you unless you seek after it yourself. I know this is way off topic for anything that I ever talk about on my channel, but I really thought this would be a good opportunity to help you guys to not deal with a problem that I've been dealing with for half a decade.